Ready? Okay. We'll call the May 21st, 2025 Barnes County North School Board meeting to order. If you first would like to rise and do the pledge of allegiance. I pledge
Allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Couple little changes, we're gonna move around on the agenda a little bit. At the end there, the miscellaneous, the career and tech report and Cheyenne Valley special ed reports. We're gonna move right up like we're unfinished businesses, just before new business. We're gonna move out of new business, the 2024 audit report, up to right after the consent agenda. So get him on there. So, any other changes?
Nope, that should be it.
Okay. So we would just need a motion to approve the amended agenda.
I'll make a motion to approve the amended agenda.
For a second.
Second.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Good. Okay, then we'll move to the consent agenda, which is minutes, bills, and financial reports. If anybody has any questions on those. One question, Lindsay, or it could be just Cody. You got Dakota Family Services, usually it's out of the general fund,
Yep, we
We
ran
got some,
out of grant funds.
out of grant funds?
Yep, so.
So this the
elementary
last
fundraising.
building now, or building, or is there another building coming?
Don't know that answer.
I asked for their most recent, so,
Okay.
but that should have came out of elementary fundraising, right?
Did.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's in there, just,
Okay.
usually it's in the general fund, not the activity.
Yeah, we ran out.
Okay. Any other questions?
Change in the minutes, right? Minutes
Yep.
is involved too?
Yep.
It's Lee Gazzetti under poll hours. It says less,
Oh, wow. Under what section?
poll hours was
Okay.
the second or the motion, one of the two.
Okay.
And are we required to make adjustments on the budget to actual when we're over by what percentage on budget? Such as fuel and repairs and maintenance is over 20,000?
We have not in the past,
Okay.
no.
We're not required to do anything with any percentage or anything? Okay, because we're over there, so that's what I was wondering. Okay.
Any other questions on any of those items, minutes, bills, or financial reports? Hearing none, we would need a motion to approve the consent agenda.
I'll make a motion to approve this consent agenda.
Is there a second?
I'll second.
Cody? Roll call when you're ready, Lindsay.
Cody,
Yes.
Jennifer,
Yes?
Lee,
Yes.
Mike,
Yes.
DJ,
Yes.
Tyler,
Yes.
Cindy. Yes. Eric.
Yes.
Okay, approved. We'll roll to the 2024 audit. Welcome.
Sounds good. Everyone can still hear?
Yep.
Mm-hmm.
Perfect. Okay, so on our 2024 audit here, for new board members or board members who've heard me talk before on this, my quick explanation of what we're doing in an audit, I'd like to break the audit down into a two-step process. Our first step process being we're testing internal controls of the school, so essentially making sure on money leaving the school, an emphasis on expenditures that we're taking a random sample of checks and the checks over a set dollar amount. And that includes payroll checks, and we're going through and making sure as we pull a random sample of expenses that we have documentation for all those expenses, invoicing, dual signatures on checks, making sure that the controls that the school district does employ are being, enforced, and that all expenditures leaving the school, that there's good documentation for that, via the invoice matching vendors on the checks, etc. And then also on payroll expenses too, we'll go through and check a certain amount of paychecks, making sure on the deductions, the net amount that we can recalculate those paychecks back, and then also verifying gross payback contracts. So once we've done that on some expense testing, we move into more of the audit procedures that you see on the balance sheet, income statement, verifying bank statement balances, checking bank reconciliations, making sure the notes payable, bonds payable, all principal, interest, all agree, tie out the balance sheet amounts. we go out and verify from the county for property tax revenue, if the county said that X amount of dollars were sent to the school for the various funds, that those revenue amounts are showing up in the school. Same goes through state money, and then any federal money that passes through DPI for the various grants, that if, you know, these various entities are saying that they're sending X amount of dollars into the school, that those dollars are reflected in the income statement itself. So, with that, conclusion of our audit here, our audit opinion is similar to other prior audits we've done for the school, unmodified opinion, essentially the highest level opinion that the school can get, that we're agreeing the books and records and that there's no material adjustments in our opinion as we're formulating the financial statements. One new thing that we got caught up to being just a 1 year at a time audit. We switched on this audit report. Instead of just being on cash basis, we're on full accrual accounting now, so we're recognizing receivables, recognizing payables. There's a few more things that show up on the document itself for some deferred outflows, deferred inflows, in the Barnes County School District share of that. Just a couple other things that just get put into the accrual-based accounting versus just cash. And then I know Lindsay's also doing that too, recognizing, you know, receivables that come in or grants that's, you know, soon to come in after year end, making sure that we're kind of keeping track year to year, just a little bit more accurate accounting for the school, that just because the grant money didn't show up doesn't mean it's not on the way from, you know, mostly DPIs where any of those receivables would come from. So, that was probably one of the bigger noted changes. There's a couple findings at the end of the audit. These findings have been around the last couple of years. They most likely will continue to exist as well. First finding is that there's a lack of segregation of duties. Essentially, just any school district that has one business manager, which would probably encapsulate 95% of schools, that one business manager is in charge of reconciling the bank statement, issuing checks, you know, issuing payroll. That duty to have a complete segregation of duties would need to be 2, you know, sometimes 3 different people, which just isn't feasible for any Class B school in North Dakota. So, compensating controls that the school exhibits with dual signatures on checks, board oversight. You guys seen expenditures, you know, seen the different expense reports that you guys see. Obviously an audit that comes into, I mean, they're just using compensating controls to kind of overcome that. And then the final finding is that we're helping prepare the whole entire financial statement and the footnotes that go with that financial statement. Once again, it would 95% of schools, I would imagine, in North Dakota, probably 99% of schools in North Dakota have an outside CPA firm that's conducting the audit to also come up with all the footnotes and the financial statements in an audit report as well. So overall, working with Lindsay is really good. Pretty smooth audit on our end here. So I would turn it over to the board if they had any other questions as well.
Any questions anybody have? It's working good with you, Lindsay.
It's been great.
Great. Anything that you see in there that you should just keep us aware of, or anything to look for? Or?
You know, the biggest thing that always comes out to, you know, I say these 2 findings, I say they've been the 2 findings from years before, and they will continue to exist. You know, don't always just take it lightly. The board, you're appointed to provide some oversight. Just make sure, ask questions, be in tune, and, you know, exactly what you guys are doing in the consent agenda. They're reviewing expenses, you know, ask questions. It never hurts to ask, just because there is, you know, one person kind of appointed on the financial position. Now we think she's doing a pretty good job of it, but it's always good just to have that little bit of, you know, questioning thought as well. So.
Anybody have any questions? You apparently did a good job. We don't have any questions.
They're not always the most exciting things to read. I know that for a fact. So.
Nothing? Anybody else? Okay. Well, thank you. We don't have any more questions for you.
Don't you have to motion?
Thank you. Have a good night, everyone.
Okay.
Thank you.
Thanks. So we would need a motion to approve the 2024 audit report.
Motion to approve the 2024 audit report.
Is there a second?
I'll second.
Cody? Any discussion? Not. Roll call.
Well,
Oh,
I just
yep.
want to make sure in discussion that you guys note the difference between this audit report to a prior year audit reports. And for those of you in for-profit business, now the statement of net position is the page on 5. That is the actual balance sheet of the school district. That's not normally what you would see in governmental accounting. Governmental accounting is going to give you 12 months. So that, if you're questioning where we stand on a where we're sitting, that's probably the best page to start looking at. 5 and 6 is probably where you wanna look at, and what you would normally see in a business world, so. We haven't seen those before, so make
This
sure
is
you,
a
make sure you're
different one.
looking at it, so,
Yep, it's a different report this time around, yes.
that's all.
Anything else? If not, roll call, Lindsay.
Jennifer,
Yep,
Cody,
Yes.
Tyler,
Yes.
Eric,
Yes.
DJ,
Yes.
Lee,
Yes.
Cindy,
Yes.
Mike.
Yes. Nothing under patron forum?
Nope.
We'll roll to reports. Mr. Curry is first.
Yep, before we get to the presentation under my report, I just want it noted that, after our April school board meeting, Sheila Kruwal decided she did not want to move forward with working with the school district on the daycare. And then kind of just for reference, because I know in that conversation it came up about not really off-site, but not connected to the school building. So it just so happened that on the listserv, a portable came up for sale from Bismarck. So I inquired on it and talked to the business manager at Bismarck Public Schools and kind of asked him, how much you looking, what do you want for it, or what did you pay for it? And he said, well, he thought they were gonna sell it for 50,000, they bought it for 100, but they were getting so many inquiries that he said they were gonna open it up for bids, because they thought they could get a lot more money for it. And obviously, it was a four room, which is probably a lot more than we need, but it just kinda gives you
On those
an
portables,
idea.
do they have a bathroom in the portable already, usually? Or is it just 4 classrooms?
That's a good question, Jennifer, I do not know.
That one.
There was
Yeah.
one?
That one had
Yeah, I wasn't
That one
sure.
had a couple, they
Okay.
attached the floor plan.
Okay, that's the only
It just
question I had,
depends. Sometimes
Not
they do,
all of them
sometimes they
do.
don't.
right.
For that, and then I was looking at some data and stars and came across that other stuff I put in there. And, the cost of education, 1,300 less than the state average is what we kick in for our kids. But the glaring one is the transportation one, which I'm sure everybody noticed, that the state average is $735 per student, and we're at $1,693 per student, almost $1,000 more per student that we spend on transportation.
That counts
For that.
labor, bus cost, fuel, insurance, like all that kind of part.
All that
Okay.
stuff that would go into that transportation salaries, I'm assuming, all that stuff, yes. For that, and then I could have sent the whole list of bills, I just thought I would touch on the ones that I thought, for us were the most important, not saying that the other ones, aren't, but, just kind of track on that, because out of the ones even that I listed, with them, that we're gonna have to either come up with amendments or adoptions for about 5 to 7 policies in the near future here
Yeah.
for those. With that, so I don't know if you've got any questions on the bills or
Yes.
anything else, yeah.
So you have in here, and I thought that was very interesting, your state cost versus BCN cost of education, and then you go down to the bill, House Bill 1369 K-12 funding. They're saying in 2026, we should educate for $11,349.
Yeah,
So what is the state concept of if the average state cost is $14,694, and they're saying you should educate for 11, where do they think the $3,500 is gonna come from? Cause the transition minimums and all that stuff is gonna
Right,
limit.
right.
Have they chatted about that at all?
property taxes are, no, but they know it, I mean, and they
Okay.
even talk about it during the session, and they talk about it during the bill, they talked about it, that was one of the last bills that they did, and they knew that 2.5% wasn't gonna even come close to meeting the inflationary needs of the districts, but that's all the money they have
They
left
left.
after it divvies out all over the place. And we were told, and public meeting, whatever, but we were told by a highly reliable source that the 2.5 was retribution because the ESAs failed. So because they failed, they were gonna try to stick it to the public schools, and that was the way they did it, was by not giving them more funding for it. true or not, like you said, it was in my opinion, a very high reliable source that told us that
Okay.
in a meeting. So no, they're very aware of that. And that number grows, it doesn't shrink on a yearly basis for that, and they adjusted transportation a little bit to help with that cost, but it's not covering that gap.
Okay. Thank you.
Yes, yeah.
Any other questions? Thanks, Mr. Curry.
Okay, so under my report, I think it was in there, I think I've talked about it earlier this year, if you've heard about it, is the Burke Committee's done a lot of work. This year, kind of after last year, I kind of it got a little stagnant, and so we revamped it. And Emily and Kim were willing to kind of take the leads on it, just with their positions of Kim being kind of the first contact point in the building, and Emily with her EMT firefighter and with that background. So I'm gonna have those ladies kind of just go through an overview of what we've done this year, and what's coming up here in the near future with that. So
Well, we've been busy. We've been very busy. You wanna start?
Sure. Just some, like I said, general things that we've kind of gone over. We just certified all 7th through 12th grade students in CPR and AED trained, so that they are, the whole high school is certified in that, which was also a choice ready requirement, so that also was very beneficial.
We did certify all of our freshmen and our staff in Stop the Bleed, so tourniquets. We all know how to do that now, and all the freshmen, I'm not sure I trust them to save us, but they all know how to do it.
We thought it was a good perk, though, being out here in the farming community and everything. I mean, when major accidents, Stop the Bleed, great thing to know. Kim and I are now Alice trained, so that's good in our district, good in our in-house and everything, so we can bring that to be more ready for any active shooters or anything like that.
We've updated and added extra emergency buckets, the big blue buckets. We've added quick access first aid kits, so they're not always running to me for a Band-Aid. If you need Band-Aid, you have them in your room with the nose plugs and the basic stuff. That are easily accessible to everyone.
And we'll also be adding extra buckets to some of the exits and throughout the building for extras as well. We also, monthly, we have been conducting tests and alerts, so that consists of teaching the teachers, reminding them how to use their wearable mics, and then also finding and fixing any of the flaws in the system. And then we've also added a group chat to our WhatsApp called ICE, that's in case of emergency, so if there is anything going on in the building, all staff, it's also our subs, kitchen, and some outline staff are on this. We test it monthly to make sure it works for everyone, but if there is anything, it is a full communication chat for everyone.
We have done lots of drills this year to improve coordination and staff confidence. Mrs. McGee did die in the fire. It's okay. It's okay. Our drills we evacuated everyone to the shop for one of our drills. We put a fake fire in the hallway, so your normal emergency route was thrown off, and she didn't make it. All of these have proved our staff are getting more confident. It's not just, we gotta go this way, like they have to think about it, and they're getting more confident, they're ready for it, the students are getting better at it.
And then we've also updated our radios. They have been significantly clearer. Communication's been great with them. Coverage radius about a mile from the school. That has been great for communicating during drills and just our day-to-day operations.
So looking ahead, we are going to, I think, do a full-scale evacuation. That's our plan for this next school year, because it's been a few years since we've done it.
A lot of work goes into that.
A lot of work, a lot of coordination, but we're gonna do it.
And in the meantime, we're gonna start throwing out a What If Wednesday. So it's just gonna be some basic to extreme scenarios, just to get some teachers thinking about what ifs. I'm not gonna ask for responses if they want, but just stuff to day-to-day think of what could happen. It could be, like I said, the smallest little sliver to active shooter or anything like that, so.
You guys have any questions?
Anything you guys.
Anything at all?
Are you able to talk to dispatch with those radios?
Not yet.
Not yet.
It's coming, correct?
I believe so.
It's coming, we're not there yet. Not because of us, because of their tower.
They haven't switched over.
They have not switched yet, it's not us, but, yep.
Is there anything you guys would like us to look into or improve as the board committee?
This is Wimbledon's fire district.
Yes, as of up to about an hour.
Have you guys done coordination with them at all? As far as, I know they've done, when you've had evacuations here, they've notified like the Daisy department that they were doing it, but we didn't respond to those at all.
It'd be
If that's
mutual aid.
gonna happen, just for the department, it'd be nice to know, like, what would you actually want the department to do? Do you want us to come and actually do traffic control on a scenario to where we know where you want us type of thing? Or usually we don't respond to it because it's
It would
just a
be-
drill, so we don't go to it, but
Right.
it wouldn't be bad to actually coordinate that where we were there.
Yep, and that would go, we'd send it through dispatch to say we need you as mutual aid and that type of thing, so yes, we can definitely include you guys on that one. Thank you for that.
Anything else?
Well, thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, ladies.
Thanks.
And when they talk about drills, we actually did one at lunch hour
Oh,
this
yeah.
year also, because, yeah, unfortunately, fires, whatever, don't happen at the most convenient time. So that one was interesting, and I think overall it went pretty well, because their exits are thrown off. I mean, everybody goes out the front, but you can't do it chaotically either. It has to be, you know, so it was just interesting just to throw that wrinkle or those wrinkles in there, just to see how people react
Yeah.
for that. So, no, they've done a really good job, and it's been good because of, like we've talked about, just our location creates some issues in itself. So, appreciate them.
Nothing else on yours, Mr. Curry, right?
Nope,
Mr. Locken, secondary president.
All right, well, tomorrow's last day of school. We had graduation this past Sunday. Thanking Mr. Samus and Mrs. Heinze for all the hard work and the senior class for that going smoothly. A few little bumps in figuring out who needs to do what, especially with Joanne gone for ordering a few things like diplomas. But they made it. And thankfully we've ordered our custom ones and some spare ones. Worked out kind of nice because we had a principal from another school come get the spare ones today because he realized yesterday he didn't have them for this Sunday.
Oh, well, you're not good.
So I had a short drive from the northern part of the state today to grab them. We were about to ship them back, so that worked out pretty well.
You had the right amount?
We had 2 extra. So he really lucked out. But no, it went very well. Last day of school, we're gonna try to have some activities outside here. See how it dries up tonight, I don't know. But I will be grilling for the 7-Eleven staff and students. Try to have some yard games and such, just kind of close out the year. In a little bit, I'll put up on the board there to show you what the Choice Ready dashboard looks like. 12 out of 15 of our seniors graduated Choice Ready and 6 out of 15 are scholarship ready. So that's a pretty big achievement. A lot of that goes to Mrs. Broughton tracking that and making sure that they're getting those last steps done. Cell phone update, I'm sure you've noticed with the Senate Bill 2354, we have to come up with some options, so I put in some links for a few things we're thinking about. Checking in phones at the beginning of the day with their homeroom teacher and then getting them from their homeroom teacher as they leave at the end of the day. So, and schedule, we have our rough draft. I have spent this week basically living in Power Scheduler. Just today I went through and had students 8 through 11 look at their schedules for next year, give me changes, and I've got 1 grade left to put in the computer. I was just doing a grade right before the meeting, so hopefully we'll have everything ready so it's a smooth transition into fall with it. But
Good.
yeah, I'll put up the Choice Ready dashboard. It's kind of nice. It has a way to hide the personally identifiable information, so it'll put fake names up there. But thank you, Ms. Bitts.
Casey Fick Miller.
Mhm.
Me today?
Doesn't want to cooperate.
Weird. Was it you? 'Cause you were in there too.
I thought two people could be in the waiting.
I thought so too.
Yeah, you can have more than one in there.
Yeah, I don't know why.
So this is what it looks like when you log into there. If they have this little medal, that means that they are choice ready. So if I go into one of our kids that's choice ready here, it'll show you the essential skills, so they have to have everything at the top. It projects that they will graduate, which our graduation date in STARS is on Sunday, so it isn't checked yet, but. And then they have to have 4 of these things below. They can have more than that, but we just made sure for this year to get at least those 4. And then they have to be either 2 out of 3 post-secondary, workforce, or military ready. Post-secondary is really challenging because you have to get a high enough ACT score, 24 composite score. Next year, it sounds like they're gonna put the state assessment into that, so if you get a high enough state assessment ranking as a sophomore, you can get post-secondary ready. So there's gonna be a little more skin in the game for the state assessment as well. But, yeah, it really rides a lot on that ACT, so.
Weren't they gonna phase the ACT out a couple years ago?
Well, now they're bringing it back.
Like
Yeah,
jeans and
they
scrunchies.
changed their minds like in the last year, so it's coming back around. Workforce ready, big thing is the work keys test. So if they get the right points, I think it's 4 out of 7 on the work keys for choice ready and 5 out of 7 for scholarship ready. They have to spend enough time, like if they're in a work-based learning program, if they are taking a foreign language, all these different things. The technical assessment, that is where the CPR comes in. So that's where we'll be able to check that box for all these students, that they had the CPR training on this stage. And a lot of this, we just click on a little box and enter. We click edit and just type in what it was and when they got it. And then there's also their military ready, so a lot of that rides on the ASVAB at 31 or more. This year, senior class did really well in the ASVAB. Almost all of them got the 31 or more when they were juniors, so. And then on the scholarship side, you just click for the same kid, and it shows you what you need to get the state scholarship. So there's a little more strict components for that, so I'll grab a kid that has it. So they have to have those essential skills again, the 4 more indicators, and a lot of them it'll be the workforce and military again. Big thing for this is that it has to be 4 credits of CTE, 2 in the same coordinated plan of study. That was really hard for Mrs. Broden and I to track until this came along, because there's dozens of plans of study that multiple courses fall in this different plans, and it's like, it'll make you go cross-eyed looking at it. And this will just automatically do it based off of our course codes from DPI. So this made things a lot easier. And it helped us make sure that we got more kids scholarship and choice ready. So there we go. Any questions about it?
This would be the first year the course codes transfer over then,
Yep.
right? Okay.
Yep.
Because I know that's the issue we have down there, is to get the right
Yes.
codes.
Oh
into-
my gosh, yes. If you use the wrong course code, you're in a lot of trouble.
Yes.
Then you're changing historical grades and everything else,
Yes.
yes. Yeah.
So the end users of this is like college people gonna, or colleges gonna be able to see this, or is this for you guys to help people career track?
So it's helping kids prepare for college. It also helps them, if they're choice ready, they get that recognition at graduation, plus scholarship ready, they get into that state scholarship money.
Okay.
Kids can actually track this through PowerSchool. There's actually a dashboard on the side. It only counts stuff 9 through 12, so it's only for 9 through 12 graders that will see it. But they can actually click and enter the information themselves too. So Mrs. Broden's worked throughout the school year since we got this running, having kids enter like, hey, I worked more than 40 hours this last summer. Where did you work? You know, stuff like that.
Integrating all the things.
Yep, because a lot of it before, she just had Google Sheets full of stuff. Like she had to track all these little details in. So, yeah. And then we have to submit a state report every year for our graduates, which ones are choice ready and aren't.
Okay.
So this makes it way easier to plug that data into.
Perfect.
Is it going to be compatible with Infinite Campus?
That's an unknown right now,
Okay.
like everything with Infinite Campus. Yeah, hopefully it will be.
Yeah.
Any questions? Thank you.
All right.
Supposed to be elementary. principal.
So I have two peer leaders that are going to present quickly, but I'll go through. Our enrollment went down by one in the last month. Our spring concert was May 1st. There were 222 people up until 158. I tracked, tallying, and so our Title I annual review is Wednesday, the 14th. However, the attached notes are not from the annual review, they're from trimester 2, which I said I would send those this time. And then the 3rd through 6th grade showcase was in coordination with the junior high science fair, and there were 75 people who signed in there. I won't go through the rest of the stuff, but attachments were those trimester 2 data notes, the parent family engagement survey, the final one that we'll submit with the report that we'll submit with our Title I stuff, and then the main newsletter. And a thank you from St. Kate's for hosting Regional Science Olympiad. So.
Are you guys, I mean, like you said, the MTSS report is pretty much in there, but is there a time, I don't think we've seen it here explained to the whole board in a while? Is
Sure,
there-
like the annual title stuff?
Yeah, like the data and trends and stuff like that, which I know sometimes gets a little heavy, but like, I don't know if it ever, when's the last time we did it? DJ, have you seen one?
The actual data?
Like when the-
Tina just sent it out today to all the staff, is that
Right,
what you
but to
mean?
teach those
Yeah.
on the board that haven't been through that data concept, we haven't had that in a while, could we maybe do that sometime not on a long board
So
meeting?
like title specific? Yeah, I'm confused, Jen, because I've never done it
Well,
through
so
title,
your report always has, it's the newsletter, has the scores and the trends and the
yeah.
stars and the star testing and all that stuff, and there's people on the board here that have never heard that.
Yeah, oh, to go through and break it down, what it looks like,
Yes,
yes.
and why we,
Okay,
why
what I
there's
was-
3 tests.
yes.
And what you grade, and, I mean, like, you can get your own kids' scores from ELA and
Yeah.
the math tests, but do you understand what it means? And I think as the
Absolutely.
board, I think you should know what it means, so,
'Cause I
we should,
know
I'm inviting,
Tina usually
Usually did
comes,
it, yes.
yeah, once a year comes in and kind of explains everything.
right. So
And
I think we should do that again, is what I'm saying.
is the June board meeting a shorter one?
Yes,
I think that would
That's
be a
fine.
good one
We'll be
because,
canvassing at 6:30 and then the board.
yeah.
if it's okay with everybody else, just because we'll have our annual review notes too, and, cause we
Yeah.
added some of next year's goals based on that data too, so I think it would be a good connection.
I just didn't remember the last one, and I knew there's probably a
I think
refresher
last
would be
May or
good.
June, I think Tina was here, which would have been, before
Yeah.
DK got on. Yes.
So, yeah, I can do that.
That'd be great, thank you.
Anything else? Not, thanks. Do you have-
The peer leaders
Yep.
are going to share kind of about their year, and we only have 2 out of the 5, so. Okay, good. Okay. Yeah.
Yes.
So S5.
Oh.
It's not. Hello.
Melissa, touch it.
I'm just glad they're used to grabbing them and using them.
Is yours working, that one?
You unplug something when you're messing them today.
All of our stuff, just like with
It worked earlier when you practiced.
Like, what
Gotta yell.
Talk nice and loud, girls.
You
You can do it, yes.
So S5, Kennedy, Paisley, Adeline, Olivia, and Aubrey were chosen as peer leaders this year. And here are the service learning projects to help around the community. What are the peer leaders? What is a peer leader? A selected group of 6th grade students that are hand-selected by process to lead activities and community service projects for their school. What did we do? Help with house celebrations by announcing character words, holiday volunteer projects, members of Kindness Club, and role models for the elementary. Why do we have cheerleaders? Help community in the school, learn skills to be successful in life, be models to inspire others.
So Paisley's project was school-wide bingo over the intercom. So for her service learning project, she was the leader of fundraising event bingo. All students in grades preschool through 12th grade had the opportunity to purchase a bingo card with any money donation they could. We played 3 bingo games. As a peer leader, we called the bingo numbers over the intercom system, and students played bingo in their classrooms. Students who bingoed came to the office for a treat from the concession stand. Thank you to Student Council for donating these prizes. This was a great fundraising event. We raised over $500 when our original goal was $100. Students had fun playing bingo. We celebrated with popsicles for every pre-K through 12 student because of the success of the event. And then she thought this would be a fun way to involve the whole school in fundraising.
My service learning project was Kindness Rocks. So
Do this one first.
Aubrey's, or this is kind of all of ours, we collected items for the Barnes County Food Pantry. We were able to donate over 200 items for the food bank. The peer leaders delivered the items. This is an important service project because we help families in need. It shows that Barnes County North families care about our surrounding communities and the families that live there.
Birthday cake pans. So my peer leader project was making birthday cake pans for the food pantry. So anybody who can't afford to buy birthday supplies can go to the food pantry and get one. And this includes frosting, cake mix, candles, Sprite to replace the eggs and oil, and the cake pans and cards. And to make this successful, I teamed up with the first grade class, and they helped donate everything in the classroom and make all the cards. And then I chose this project because I thought it would be fun to put together, and I wanted to help people who are not able to get these supplies and they still have a birthday cake.
My service learning project was Kindness Rocks, and those. So what I did, we took rocks and painted them white, and then I arranged a time with Mrs. Kraft to go to her classroom so the second graders could use Sharpies and draw designs on the rocks. And then after they were done, as peer leaders, we put like inspirational words on it, or like some nice words on them, and placed them in Valley City. And I chose this project because I wanted to make someone's day better.
So tie blankets was Olivia's service learning project. So for her service learning project, we all helped make tie blankets for the Ronald McDonald House. We took and donated 14 tie blankets. Each family that stays at the house gets a tie blanket and a stuffed animal when they check in. These blankets are helpful for a warm welcome to the guests at the house. The Ronald McDonald House is a place where families can stay for free when a family member, child under 18, is sick in the hospital or doing treatment. And she wanted to do this project because she liked to make tie blankets, and we found a place that we could donate them to. We are glad we found the Ronald McDonald House.
Making desserts at the Ronald McDonald House. We went to the Ronald McDonald House to bake goods for the families staying there. We also were able to get a tour of the facility. As peer leaders, we feel it's very helpful to the families with kids in the hospital with a variety of needs.
Some of the challenges. The challenges we found was needing to make time to work on projects. We still needed to complete our schoolwork in order to be a peer leader.
We feel that we met our goals easily. When we set a goal to raise 100 playing school-wide intercom bingo, we actually raised over 500.
We kept forgetting to make sure the laptops were plugged in at 3 o'clock. To help us remember, we set alarms on our iPads, and we found out we also needed reminders in our cubbies when it was our week to wash tables in the morning. This will be helpful for our future because we learn skills to be responsible.
Lessons learned as a peer leader. It is important to support or help people or animals in need.
It takes time and responsibility to meet and set goals.
It is very rewarding to give back to the community.
Students look up to us. We need to always show integrity.
School adults appreciate the extra help we do.
Thank you for the opportunity to make a positive difference in the community.
Thank you for the opportunity to be role models for the students.
Thank you to all the teachers for supporting us through our endeavor through being a peer leader.
Thank you to the community for supporting our fundraising efforts.
Thank you to the school board for allowing us to share about our experiences as peer leaders.
And the quote says a peer leader.
So
I was gonna say, do you just wanna share yours quotes? You don't, they can read the other ones
Yeah,
from
we
the
can.
girls that aren't, or the kids that aren't
So
here.
my quote, as a peer leader, we did more than I thought we would. I enjoyed getting to make time with kids.
Being a peer leader let me do more things and help me learn how to be a role model. Is there any questions?
What was your guys' favorite memory from this year as being a peer leader?
Going on the field trip?
Kennedy, do you have a different one?
No.
So that's when they volunteered at the Ronald McDonald House, and Mrs. Anderson said they even have ideas for next year, right?
Yes, yep, because they still do the pop tops, so they sent a whole bunch of houses home with us. So next year's peer leaders, I'll bring it to them right away in the fall and see if they want to do a year-long event to raise the pop tops.
Did you already do the applications for next year's? When does that timing happen?
The first 2 weeks of school.
First 2
Yeah,
weeks.
yep, so they went into the 5th grade room yesterday and they give a very similar presentation to them, just letting them know what it looks like to be a peer leader, what it all involves. And then, yeah, Mrs. Bessie handles the application process, the interviews and everything, and then after they've been selected, then she passes them on to me, and then we start our projects and all the things.
We did try it 1 year the spring before, just so they can jump in with a new year being sixth graders and supporting, but then we got some new students, and so we do try to wait and give them a couple weeks.
Anything else, Lydia? Well, thank you. Great presentation.
Thank you.
Good job, girls.
Thank you for giving them time to do so.
Mrs. Bitch, you have anything technology-wise?
Nothing other than kind of what was in the report. So, just working on the end of the year items, all the student devices were collected today, moving, it's kind of a process because I'm wiping everything and moving everything to a new mobile device management software system. Mr. Curry and I have met and went through, we have, a plan to purchase 70 new iPads, which I put that cost in there, in your notes for that $30,376.50. And then, we are going to end up doing, some staff machines. Staff don't know that yet, I just decided that yesterday because the student machines and the staff machines kind of are the same age, and we're trying to rotate those out about every 5 years. And so, just because of how things worked out, we're going to do 14 new staff machines for $15,386 versus the 20 new student machines. So, Mr. Curry and I are meeting and working on to make sure that we get those things on a rotation for staff and student devices. Other than that, just wrapping up the end of the school year. It was probably the most relaxing day of collecting devices at the end of the year that I've ever had, because I'm not trying to collect devices and trying to set up for graduation and be all over the place at one time. So it's kind of nice to have graduation this week for me. It's a little bit weird, but it was nice for me.
So you're gonna try to get those iPads and those 14 machines in on this fiscal budget?
Yes.
So we'll be over a little bit, but
We shouldn't be,
We
don't.
should be
we should be
right,
right about there.
pretty much right
I
on
just had
budget, that's how we
36.
got
Depends on how
decided.
you split it.
Right,
yeah.
Yeah,
where we
and the
would be at.
radio reimbursement
because-
is in as well.
Yes.
So that takes
Oh, okay.
4 to
So
6
that
weeks.
money's coming
Got
back.
it, got it,
Yes.
Yeah.
I just didn't know in your conversation on what, if we're splitting it 2 years or one, so, okay.
Do we have any other questions? Okay, thanks.
Oh, what are you doing with the old machines?
Are they,
They'll just get, there's really, really old machines in, some of the laptop carts, so they'll just get cycled out, and we have in the past sold some laptops. We usually use machines max for 10+ years until they really can't update and they're really slow, but they last us a pretty long time. So some of those old ones might be good enough just for somebody if they wanna just go on the internet. That will sell out, but I'll rotate those machines out. Mrs. Elijah's classroom has some pretty old ones, and there are some pretty old ones in our high school laptop cart. We decided we're not going to refresh our laptop carts. We'll just cycle the old ones out into there.
And those are like, if they forgot theirs or,
Yeah, or if they have projects or different things that they have to work on. If we have some students that have iPads that need a different project for laptops, we've used them for testing, different things like that. But there's no reason to keep them a brand new cart.
got it.
Thanks. Anything else? None. Mr. Schaefer, Athletic Director.
Yep. Right away on my report that I had out there with track and field, it should said finished up the regular season. They were performing at the regional meet on Friday, and that was before I sent that report out. And they actually had that switched to Saturday because of the weather. With that board report there. I'll be emailing the extracurricular committee about a meeting in junior to discuss a couple things, so they'll be coming here. Probably tonight I'll send that email out. Brant Mueller has been chosen off the alternate list and placed on the roster for the North Dakota Shrine football game. So it'll be a good experience for Brant. You'll really enjoy that. I'd like to thank Coach Tina Brent for the hard work during the speech season. I would also like to thank Coach Lilja and Coach Goldaddy for their efforts with the track and field season as well this year. Coach Goldaddy will not be returning with us next year, since he'll be moving out to Bismarck, Mandan area. Baseball finished up last week. There were no state track and field qualifiers this year. I have had some interest on coaching positions. I'll be contacting some of these people here this summer, June, July, and hopefully we can get some positions filled. The volleyball interest that I did have went south on us. So that was unfortunate. I thought we possibly would have had something there, but something else came up. We're going to be looking at a change with honoring and recognizing our student athletes on the awards night. As you can see with my board report, I took a head count on our participation, and the participation just really wasn't there. So we might be doing something different with that, whether it might be doing a seasonal type of thing, or maybe after the activity is done. That particular coach can have something set up then. So we might try that. Mr. Curry and I are working on an activity handbook to discuss at our next committee meeting. So we'll have, it's pretty much almost, the draft is pretty much done. We just have to discuss it, and then we can bring that forward to the board then. So I think the last handbook, activity handbook we've ever had was maybe, what, 5-6 years ago possibly. It's been a while, so I think we do need to have one in place, so. Schedules are pretty much finalized. Just need to look over and see if I can squeeze in a few games here and there. The elementary volleyball I don't have yet. I'll do that later on in next year. But pretty much all the other elementary sports that we have, the girls basketball and the boys basketball, I think I have those schedules finalized. And then Ms. Curry and I will be looking at the activity salary schedule as well. We'll be looking at maybe some changes on that. We'll bring that to committee and then have something for the board to look at. Other than that, any questions?
Questions?
Okay, thank you.
So committee reports, Budget and finance is the only one.
It's gonna come through negotiations.
Gonna come through
so-
negotiations, yeah. Okay. Touch base with, Career and Tech, Cheyenne Valley. Basically the same thing, finishing up the year and everything and working on negotiations down there. That's about what pretty much all there is down there right now, so. We don't have anything else really. We are still on schedule to be buttoned up here first part of June, they keep saying, on the building, and then it's into landscaping, but so far it's looking like they're pretty much on schedule. They keep telling us. You look like there's more things to do, but they keep saying they are right there. So if you do get down, take a swing by, now, it looks different now down there, so. Security, Cheyenne Valley, special ed.
A lot of the same as CTE negotiations, still working on it there. Our director did bring a very early draft budget, just so we had an idea for negotiations as far as where we're gonna end up this year, plus what it could possibly look like. Going into next year, and then, just some summer school, ESY planning and stuff that she talked to us about, so.
Any questions there? Okay. Roll the new business, you got election worker approval, Lindsay.
So I have 4 election workers: Rolene Richards, Mary Plum, Al Goring, Colleen Hare, and then alternates Joanne Jorison and Cindy Schwer.
Need a motion for those election workers.
Do you need me to, do I have to list those people?
Just motion to approve as
Motion
presented.
to approve the slate of election workers as provided.
Is there a second?
I'll second that.
Eric? Roll call, when you're ready, Lindsay.
Eric,
Yes.
Mike,
Yes.
DJ,
Yes.
Tyler,
Yes.
Jennifer,
Yes?
Lee,
Yes.
Cindy,
Yes.
Cody.
Yes.
Sorry, I was trying school's out for summer over the whole school a little bit ago, and I forgot to turn the Bluetooth off.
Poor girl.
I know, I'm like, why is this not working?
Sick bank policy, is that what you've got, Mr. Schaefer?
Yep. And I'll give you guys these handouts here with the changes that we're proposing on that. So you guys can take a look at that. And I just printed off just the page where we're making the possible changes. We're wanting to bring this, or open this up, because we know that this kind of piggybacks off a little bit with our negotiated agreement and, you know, vice versa, whatever the case might be. So one of the changes that we would like to propose with the sick bank policy would be with bereavement. It's added in there that sick leave from the negotiated agreement can be exhausted down to 5 days, I should read in there, for a teacher request from the sick bank. And then the other wording would be all personal leave from the negotiated agreement must be exhausted before the teacher can withdraw from the bank. So that's one change that we would like to propose, because right now, with bereavement, I believe in our negotiated agreement states that we have to exhaust all sick leave and all personal leave before we could come into the sick bank for bereavement. And then the or underneath that would be for parental leave. A teacher may request up to 15 days max for birth, adoption of a child. Sick leave from the negotiated agreement can be exhausted down to 5 days before a teacher requests from the sick bank. So those are 2 proposals that we would like to add to the sick bank policy.
One-time request, Mr. Shaver?
Yes, that's a one-time request for that. It should be probably for that child, for that birth or adoption. They cannot request more than that one-time thing. And we should have that worded in there as well.
So you're going to add that? that wording?
Yeah, we can put that in there, that this is a one-time request for that particular child. Yes.
Why the choice of can be exhausted? Is that just a word selection, or?
Well, they can go down to 0 if they want to.
Do they have to take sick leave to, their own sick leave down to 5 days before they can request from the bank?
No, they have to go all the way down to 0, right now, in the negotiated agreement.
Right, but in the new situation, are you saying that they should take their sick leave to 5 and then they can request?
Yes, down to 5, and then they can
Okay.
request a sick leave.
Sick leave from negotiated should be exhausted down to 5 days before a teacher requests from the sick bank then?
Must.
Must be? Can is a kind of an open thing, so I believe it should be a different word. I'm not refuting anything else other than probably should be must, if that's what you're saying it needs to be in both paragraphs.
Or you say needs to be exhausted down to 5 days.
Yep.
Yep. Sick leave from the negotiated agreement needs to be exhausted down to 5 days before a sick leave, yeah. Parental
We'll
leave
do
of
that,
teacher.
same with the agreement then,
Bereavement and parental, yep, sorry,
needs to be exhausted down to 5. Yep, sounds fine to me.
I think that's where we were kind of all already. And then after, I would put that one-time request either in both bereavement and parental leave or stipulate a sentence somewhere.
With bereavement, that's a different story because they may take up to 10 days per bereavement on that.
Oh, you already have that.
That's already in that.
From the sick bank.
Yep.
They may take up to 10 days
The
per bereavement.
parental one would be the one where that's a one-time.
Okay.
So we can say at the end there, this is a one-time request
Per child.
per child. And that's all with the sick bank. Any questions with our proposals with that?
Why did you wanna change it from 0 to 5 days?
That's part of the negotiated kind of thing right now. What we were asking for, I don't know, how do I wanna word it without giving information out on that?
We can touch that executive session.
Right, because you guys will be discussing
Yes.
about this sick bank policy and
It kinda
the
ties.
proposals when you guys go to executive decision,
Yes.
so. So kind of.
But I think the idea with the down to 5 days was if you have a child, you know that there's always appointments or something that come up after the birth or adoption of a child. And, for bereavement, and it has to be immediate family, which is defined in this as well, that in some situations, you might be the executor of that will or whatever else, so there's days that need to be taken off to kind of get that stuff taken care of, I think is what the idea was, of why to leave the 5 extra days in there, in case they're needed.
Any other clarifications anybody has?
Okay, thank you.
We're kind of, like, understand, we're gonna kind of table, work through it, and you
Yep.
just got her to go ahead, so.
So you need a
Because we
motion
understand
to
that
table?
both sides need to agree to this change anyway,
Yeah.
so.
Do you need a
Need a
motion
motion
to
to
table
table?
the item?
To,
Table it for right now?
It's on the agenda.
right,
There is no motion on the table yet. Do we
yeah,
need to
so you
motion
would
to
need,
table this?
I mean, to acknowledge it, you would need at least a motion to table.
Yes.
That you're
I
at
motion
least
to table the-
acknowledging
Yeah.
the policy.
Yes.
Yes, I motion to
Table
table
it.
the discussion on sick bank policy for now.
Is there a second?
I'll second.
Cindy? Roll call when you're ready, Lindsay.
Cindy,
Yes.
Eric,
Yes.
Lee,
Yes.
Tyler,
Yes.
Mike,
Yes.
DJ,
Yes.
Jennifer,
Yes.
Cody.
Yes.
We have the business manager evaluation on here. No, we didn't do one that's written up, but everybody else has been evaluated. We want to get something on Lindsay's record too. I mean, you see what she does each month preparing the stuff. We witness it very much so in budget and finances, things she can do, but is there any issues or anything? Or if not, we're just looking to make some type of recommendation for satisfactory business manager evaluation. Because we haven't officially done one on her this year, written one.
Falls under the responsibility of the
This
board
Yep.
to evaluate this business manager, so we couldn't give that to Mr. Curry.
No.
So we're just looking for a verbal right now?
Right now,
Yep.
yeah, so if there's anything that you see, or we're just gonna do a verbal one this year, yes.
Well, I think she does an excellent job, so. No complaints from me.
Okay. So we would look for a motion, if that's the case, for a satisfactory business manager evaluation.
I'll make a motion.
Okay. By Lee, is there a second?
I'll second.
Tyler. Any others, concerns, questions? If not, roll call.
Cody,
Yes.
DJ,
Yes.
Cindy,
Yes.
Tyler,
Yes.
Eric,
Yes.
Jennifer,
Yes.
Lee,
Yes.
Mike.
Yes. Okay. We got one more item on the agenda.
I read this whole thing? The next item on the agenda is negotiation strategy. This item may be discussed in an executive session only when an open meeting would have an adverse fiscal effect on the bargaining or litigating position of the board. The legal authority for closing this portion of the meeting is NDCC section 44-04-19.1. The topic or purpose of this executive session is negotiation strategy. At this time, a motion would be in order to discuss the next item in an executive session rather than in an open meeting. Is there such a motion?
Is there a motion to go to executive session?
Motion to go to executive session.
Is there a second?
I'll second.
By Lee. Roll call, Lindsay.
Eric,
Yes.
Jennifer,
Yes.
Tyler,
Yes.
DJ,
Yes.
Mike,
Yes.
Cody,
Yes.
Lee.
Yes.
Yes.
Okay. The executive session will be recorded. All members of the governing body are reminded to limit their discussion during the executive session to the announced topic. The prohibition on taking final action during the executive session does not apply to providing guidance or instructions to our negotiators. We now ask the members of the public who are attending the meeting to leave the room. Cody Almond will be asked to leave the room due to a conflict after the administration negotiations, before the teacher negotiations. We anticipate adjourning the executive session and reconvening the open portion of the meeting at approximately, I'm gonna say 9 o'clock. It could be earlier.
You think earlier?
No, I said it could, 9 o'clock or it could be earlier. We're going to 9 o'clock.
All right.
Minutes will show that
Right.
yeah. Stacy?
You gonna table that thing for next board meeting then, more likely?
It'll actually touch base with our policy group and then back, yes.
So you don't need to stick around?
No.
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 You could if you want.
No.
He can't. He's
You
the-
could walk in and listen to us adjourn.
So, minutes will show that the regular meeting is done at 8:06. And then when you get ready, Lindsay, we'll do the start time.
We done? We turn these off?
Yeah.
Yeah.